Alright, let's talk about modesty a bit. So I make this video like quite a bit because people just never stop being immodest, of course. Modesty, of course, isn't just how you dress, it's also a heart posture. So when I first came to God, it was about 7 years ago, and I was really ready to give up everything because I was just tired of the life that I was living. Nothing was working out. I couldn't get a decent man. Men didn't want to respect me. It's like my friends were saying things, but I wasn't understanding what they were saying concerning some of my behaviors and that kind of thing. I was desperate for the attention, of everybody. And of course, God saw this. He sees us in our lowest spots. He sees us in our highest spots, and so He knows exactly what we need when. I was a fashion designer. I loved clothing since the time I was young, and so what ended up happening, I loved it so much that it became a big focus on my life. I got best dressed in high school, and everything was kind of like a fashion show to me. But unfortunately, with the love of fashion often comes vanity, and so I was a very vain person. God speaks a lot about how, the flesh corrupts and the spirit sanctifies and that kind of thing. So when we're overly concerned about our appearance and when we're overly concerned about how we're dressing and that kind of thing, it can actually wear on our souls and cause us to act in certain ways that are opposed to God. And also, in my opinion, it kind of served to make me a little stupid. When I came to God and He started showing me, you don't have to dress seductively, to be a woman of worth, because oftentimes we're dressing seductively because we want that attention from people. We want that attention especially from a man. And as a woman who grew up, in a single mother home, we're not getting off at a good start. We don't really have that male foundation, healthy male foundation in order to show us what is the proper way that we should be treated as a woman, and to have, confidence in ourselves as well, so that we're not getting ran on and looked down upon and disvalued. God had told me when I first came to Him, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are worth more than rubies. Now, when He said that, it was such a surprise to me because no one had ever said anything like that to me before, nor treated me in that way. And so I was like, wow, you're really saying this about me. This is nothing I've ever heard before, and I love it. Why would you not love that? That is the truth about His people, His children, and people that are coming to Him. He considers them worth more than rubies, and He knows how they were made. I always use the example of myself being a fashion designer, and one of the things that really bothered me is, in college, you're told to do all these creative fashion designs, design how you want, let it come from you. Well, once you get out of college and into the design field, it's not necessarily the same. They've got certain numbers that they need to meet. And they definitely will let you know that. If they don't like something, they will let you know. It could be your brainchild, and they will absolutely destroy it. They have no respect because it's a numbers game, concerning that. But God's not like that, all right? God knows the silhouette. He knows the pattern. He knows the color, He knows the aesthetic. And with that said, this is His design that He made, all right? And so we're constantly trying to change that design. We're never satisfied with how God has made us, and it really is causing a lot of inner turmoil. And so what we end up doing is self-inflicting, and when we self-inflict, we don't feel good, and then we start trying to look for validation from outside of God and outside of ourselves, and that's a big no-no. So you need to understand that, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're worth more than rubies. Everything that God designed on you, from your hair to your lip size to your nose size, to what your cheeks look like, to the texture of your hair, the color of your hair, your skin tone, none of that is a mistake. You know, when I designed for the limited brands, none of it was a mistake. None of my designs were a mistake. All right, even though the higher ups are like, yeah, that's a mistake. No, it's not. I chose the trimmings on this. I chose the pattern. This ain't a mistake. So you can't. For me, it was like, yeah, I'm done listening to you guys. I'm gonna start my own line type deal. So, after God had showed me that, my confidence started to build up. I had already been experimenting with things like natural hair. I think I started that in 2012, I want to say. And then, I became a Christian in 2017. So it was like a good 5 years of like natural hair. But when I came to God, that was when I was really able to, accept it, grasp hold of it, and just be thankful for it. Because I think, especially if you are a black woman, it's kind of hard to accept your natural beauty in which God has given you, because so many people are trying to tear it down, from your skin color to your hair texture, to your body shape. Okay, even if you're like a skinny black woman, I always had problems with both men and women calling me skinny black woman, calling me a stickly, whatever the deal is. Because I think what was stereotypically attractive on the black woman was a thick, having a little hiney and all that kind of stuff. Not me. And so I had to learn to just love my body as God made it. And that started to just change my mind into, I am a person of worth, and my worth doesn't come from how somebody perceives my body. And if they want to come from that position, well then they're not people that I want to surround myself with anyway, because they actually are vain. So I think when people do not have a modest heart and they have a heart of vanity, this isn't just affecting them, it's affecting everyone else around them. And they let them know things like, yeah, you're stickly, or yeah, your butt's too big, or yeah, your skin's too dark. Like, I was just watching a show, and I think it's called Pop the Balloon for Love. And people have this thing about preference. I had a preference, and my preference was for white men a long time, because I was told by black men that, hey, you're not good enough, you're too skinny, I don't like women that are as dark as you. And so I'm like, alright, well, white guys are kind of staring at me, and they seem to like, smaller women, which sometimes is true, sometimes it's not true. And so I was like, well, why don't I just try this out and see what happens? So what ended up happening is I ended up completely pushing black men to the side and only dating white guys. And, my friends would say stuff like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. You should just, like, not be racist. And I'm like, well, whatever. Black guys are so violent. Like, I've seen it on TV, You can't trust what the media says, all right? You have to look for yourself, because each person is an individual. And even the Bible says that. It says that, don't judge by appearance, judge righteous judgment. And that's because we can very quickly pit people based on, us being wise in our minds, and totally, get that person wrong type deal. So I decided I liked, Cristiano Ronaldo. I want a white soccer player type deal. So I ended up dating that. I did. And although this man was very disrespectful to me, just a disrespectful person in general, he was literally hitting on his best friend's girlfriend, hitting on my friends, just disrespectful, And I wasn't his type either. He said he liked white girls with long brown hair. And it's like, all right, well, why are you with me type deal? But, I had found my type, and so I was overlooking all the red flags. And this is the case with a lot of people. Because of the vanity of their own minds, because of their preferences, they overlook the things that are sustainable and best for longevity concerning a partner, for just the things that are going to die off. That's why Proverbs 31 says, charm is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And this is true. Now, a woman who fears the Lord, it's not just saying, I fear the Lord. It's like you're trying to walk in God's ways and His commands and that kind of thing. And through that, it actually refines your heart, and it refines your mind, and it refines your soul. And you really do come out as a light of the world. So, the Father told me, you need to start dressing more modestly. And so, I ended up doing that. And I can't go back now. I tried the other way. I tried dressing like the world, and it's almost like there's a check in my spirit right away where I'm just like, yeah, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to end up being the girl that I was before, where I was looking for that validation from people. Because surely people are going to want to approach you, and they're going to want to compliment you when you're wearing a cute little sundress or something like that. But we have to understand that as women of God, we are the temple of God. And so we want to represent God by what we wear as well. And so, yeah, I started definitely dressing more modestly, but I do even remember a time, like right after becoming a Christian, while I was wearing more clothing, I'm looking back and I'm like, ooh, that still was not a lot of clothing, because I think really it's a process type deal. As He refines us, sanctifies us, He does make us more modest inwardly, and that actually reflects outwardly as well. Now, this isn't to say that because somebody does dress modestly that they have a modest heart, because that's not true all the time. You got to think about someone like Jezebel or Delilah, who the women back then, they just by culture were wearing, more clothing type deal. But, these were also wicked women as well, and so their hearts weren't modest. They were just following, the culture type deal. What modesty did for me, I think, was help me rely on God more for my validation. It did give me a sense of worth. It did help me kind of dress more creatively. Yeah, because I think when I was dressing just, haphazardly, wearing whatever I wanted to, it was kind of like, well, what's a musician wearing? Like I think Beyonce and Britney and Christina, they were popular, so it's like, well, what are they wearing? But now I feel like with modesty, like you can pull from here, you can layer, you can wear this head covering, you can wear that hat with it, and so for me, I've learned how to be more creative concerning how I dress, and I think God really appreciates that as well. I think He appreciates that we still try to be creative concerning how we look, because there are, people that are looking like, oh yeah, this person dresses modestly, but they're not doing it in a way like, and no offense if you're Amish, but many people are afraid of losing the stylish aspect of how they dress. And so if we can dress creatively, then maybe more people will be attracted to it, because I do really think that God values the bodies of women, and I think a lot of things could be put to rest if women just valued their bodies more. So you guys be blessed and have a good one. Bye.